Vatsavai, can we start?
Yes, sir. I think we can get started.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our regular updates on GST from GST-Zen. I'm happy for all of you being part of today's session on the changes that are going to happen in GSTR-3B. I'm sure all of you would have filed your GSTR-1, and the 3B is going to be filed in a week from now. What is the new information that needs to be reported to 3B is what we are going to discuss. With me, I have my colleagues Manisha and Bharti, who will be taking us through the various forms. And also we will have a live demo of the session. Manisha, over to you.
Yeah, hi, welcome everyone. So as sir mentioned that GSTR-3B is now changing its format. So in this session, we will talk about the changes the government has implemented for GSTR-3B, their impact on return filing, comparison with 3B. Bharti, can you move to the next slide? Hello. Yeah. So let me talk about our speaker as well. So CA Venugopal Gila, who is an expert on GST and has contributed a lot of inputs in the drafting of various forms and rules. So before we start to for 3B, a brief introduction about GST Zen. So GST Zen provides GST compliance software consisting of the following. Can you move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So here you can see that we have return filing for GSTR-1, 3B, 9, and 9C. We have reconciliation and reports such as books versus 2A, books versus 2B, 1 versus 2A, 2 versus 3B, and so on and so forth. So we also have a lot of other utilities like to convert JSON to Excel, GST and validator, etc. So if I talk in numbers, so we have more than like 3,000 users processing millions of invoices every day, 20 crore invoices in our database. So moving ahead, over to you, Bharti.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So now I'll be talking about the changes in 3B. So before going on to the changes in 3B, let's talk about what is GSTR-3B. Form GSTR-3B is a self-declared consolidated summary return of both inward and outward supplies, which is required to be filed by every registered person. As per Section 39 of the CGST Act, the return has to be filed monthly. There is a proviso. So the government may, as per the recommendation of the council, notify certain classes of people who can file the return quarterly. So that is everybody must have heard of QRMP, that is quarterly return monthly filing. Those people whose turnover is below 5 crore can opt to file the GSTR-3B quarterly. So now who has to file GSTR-3B? Every person who's registered under the GST Act has to file GSTR-3B except taxpayers which are under the composition scheme, input service distributor, non-resident taxable person, person liable to deduct tax at source, and person liable to collect tax at source. Okay, so now let's talk about the filing date of GSTR-3B. For normal taxpayers, the date is 20th of the succeeding period. Let's say if you are filing GSTR-3B of July, the due date is 20th of August. If you are under QRMP, the date is 22nd or 24th. 22nd in states as such Maharashtra, Goa, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and 24th in states such as Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab. Okay, so what information goes into GSTR-3B? So first is summary of outward and inward supplies. Summary of outward supplies, that is table 3. So the new table which is introduced, table 3.1.1, supplies that are made through e-commerce operator.
Bharti, your
Then,
slides are not moving.
sir, I'm not okay. 1 second. So I'm just talking about the 3B in general right now. Okay. So the next table is I'm talking about all the information that is in 3B. So then there is table 4 in which the ITC details are provided. After that, you have table 5 wherein you provide details of exempt, nil and non-GST inward supplies. In table 6.1, details of payment of tax, interest and late fees are given. And in table 6.2, details of TDS or TCS. Now talking about the changes in GSTR-3B. The changes have been notified by notification 14/2022 central tax, and clarification has been given through circular 170/02/2022. The notification was notified on 5th of July 2022. So the changes that are in reporting outward supplies, table 3.1.1 is introduced, which will have the information supplies made through e-commerce operators. It will also change in provide. It will also have an effect on table 3.2, in which reporting of interstate supplies is done. And the changes in reporting ITC, the changes are in table 4A to 4D, change in the context of reporting of value. So let's talk about table 3.1. So as you can see, earlier table 3.1 had all the outward supplies and supplies liable to reverse charge. Now it will have outward supplies and inward supplies liable to reverse charge other than those covered in 3.1.1. So it will exclude the supplies made through e-commerce operator. Earlier, the supplies made through e-commerce operator, if the e-commerce operator is reporting his supplies, they would have gone into table 3.1a, that is outward taxable supplies. And if it was the seller who was providing services through e-commerce operator, it would have gone into 3.1c, other outward supplies, which are nil rated and exempt. Now these supplies will be reported in 3.1.1 instead of table 3.1. So the other details that are reported in here are outward taxable supplies 0 rated, other outward supplies nil rated, inward supplies which are liable to reverse charge, and non-GST outward supplies, the supplies which are not covered by GST Act. So the change is the supplies as per section 9 subsection 5, e-commerce operator has to be reported separately both by the original supplier and also e-commerce operator. So now let's look at table 3.1.1. So as per section 9 subsection 5 of the CGST Act, the services such as transportation of passengers by radio, taxi, motor cab, motorcycle, etc., accommodation in hotels, housekeeping, or supply in restaurant services, which are done through e-commerce operators, such as all of us now are using various kinds of apps. You use Zomato, Urban Clap, Swiggy, Uber, you use Oyo to avail of various services. So the sellers which are selling their goods or their services over these platforms are covered under this new change. So they will be reporting their supplies under table 3.1.1. So table 3.1.1, it has two columns. So in 3.1.1, first part, the taxable supplies on which e-commerce operator pays tax under subsection 5 of section 9. So these figures will be auto populated as given by the e-commerce operator, and in part 2 of this table, the total taxable value will be entered by the seller. So as you can see, part 1 is for e-commerce operator and part 2 is for the registered supplier. So these sales which are reported in 3.1.1, every seller has to make sure that he is not reporting them in table 3.1 as well. So there should be no duplication of this data. So now how does it affect table 3.2? So in table 3.1, all supplies including interstate supplies have to be declared, and there is no change in this regard. In table 3.2, the details of interstate supplies made to the following persons have to be shown separately. So it only includes interstate supplies, whether they are made to unregistered person or people who are registered under composition tax scheme or the GSTN holders. So now it will also include an e-commerce operator paying tax under section 9 subsection 5, and these details which are reported here will also be included in table 3.2. So as you can
Bharti, I
see,
would like to
this
add
is
one point
what
here.
table 3.2 is. You give the supply place of supply, the total taxable value, and the amount of aggregate tax paid on those supplies.
Yeah, Bharti.
Okay. Yes. Yes, sir.
So just a caution which I would want to pause and tell people is this is a table where people are not filling information. However, GSTN specifically mentioned that the information to be furnished in this, and there is also a clarification given by CBIC. If 3.2 is not furnished, it would be considered as information not completely furnished, and the proper officer can also levy penalty. So this 3.2 is only a reporting table. It has no bearing on the tax. It's only a supplies that have been made to unregistered person, composition, and UIN holders. It's only interstate supplies, so it's only IGST tax. The reporting will be done state-wise, the IGST that has to be paid for basically for the settlement of the taxes. So those who have not been filing the values in 3.2, start filling up the values in 3.2 to avoid penalty. Please continue.
Okay. So now moving on. So we are moving on to table 4, that is ITC. So what are the changes that have been done in table 4? So table 4A, all the nomenclature is same for ITC available: import of goods, import of services, inward supplies liable to reverse charge, inward supplies from ISD, and all other ITC. Excuse me. So sorry. Okay, now let's look at table 4B. There is a change in nomenclature as the value that will go in 4B1. So earlier it was the ITC reversed as per rule 42 and 43 of CGST rules. Now it also includes rule 38, 42, 43 and section 17 subsection 5. And so 4B2 is others. That means if there is any temporary reversal of ITC. 4B1 is permanent reversal of ITC and 4B2 is temporary reversal. 4C remains the same, net ITC available, that is ITC available minus ITC reversed. 4D1. So the nomenclature for 4D has changed from ineligible ITC to other details. 4D1 is now ITC reclaimed, which was reversed under table 4B2 in earlier tax period. So let's say you have reversed something in June. If you are now claiming it back, if you are reclaiming it in July, it has to be reported in 4D1, and 4D2 has been changed to ineligible ITC under section 16 subsection 4, and ITC restricted due to POS provisions. This is what you see in GSTR-3B as ineligible ITC. Okay, so this is what I have covered just now. Okay, so let's go one by one. So in table 4, various details relating to ITC have to be declared. Table 4A is mostly auto-populated. If you go back here, 4A1 is auto-populated, 4A2 has to be manually entered, 4A3 is also auto-populated, 4A4 is also auto-populated, and 4A5 is eligible ITC as per 2B for the month. So it is mostly auto-populated. In 4A1, the users have to give the permanent reversal, ITC reversal. Apart from earlier, it only included rule 42 and 43. Now it also includes rule 38 and ineligible ITC under section 17 subsection 5, that is blocked credit. Like for example, if somebody is a company cannot claim the ITC on membership of a club, health fitness center, etc., or travel benefits given to employees on vacations. So that is blocked credit. And under rule 38, that is banking company and financial institution, they can claim only 50% of the ITC in GSTR-3B. The rest 50% has to be reversed. So these are now included and part of 4B1. 4B2 is temporary reversal. All reclaimable reversal of ITC to be shown here. For example, non-payment of consideration within 180 days. So if you do not make the payment within 180 days of goods received, you have to reverse it. But you can reclaim it in the coming months. So that will come in 4D1 when you're reclaiming it. So changes 4A. So 4B1 plus 4B2, 4A minus 4B1 plus 4B2 is the eligible credit to be credited in the electronic cash ledger, electronic credit ledger. Table 4D1 is the credit reversed earlier and reclaimed now. So 4A5 would be eligible credit in 2B plus whatever is reclaimed by the taxpayer. And 42 is ineligible ITC due to time limit and place of supply. This is not part of 4A. This will not get auto-populated this will not become a part of 4A5. It will be auto-populated from GSTR-3B. That is the ineligible credit shown in GSTR-3B. Now, let's look at ITC eligibility as reported in GSTR-3B. If GSTR-3B says that yes, this ITC is eligible, okay, so you can, if it fulfills section 16D, if the considerations in section 16 of CGST Act are fulfilled, they can be claimed. If you are claiming it in the current month, it will be in 4A5, and if you are claiming it in the future period, so this is temporary reversal. Let's say you have 100 rupees as eligible in your GSTR-3B. You are only claiming 80 rupees of that, so 20 rupees you are temporarily reversing. So that will go to 4B2. And if it is ineligible as per rule 42, 43 or under section 17 subsection 5, it will go to 4B1, that is permanent reversal. If GSTR-3B says no, this is not eligible due to place of supply or time restriction. Time restriction is when you cannot claim the ITC of a financial year after September due date or after filing of an annual return, whichever is earlier. So that will directly go into 4D2. So the important
Previous slide once.
Yes.
Members, this is a very important change, and you need to know from in terms of reporting how you will be doing the accounting in your books of accounts and how you will report. Contextually, if you see earlier ineligible so earlier the way people were doing reporting was out of the total credits that are eligible were reported in 4A, those which are ineligible were reported in 4D. So 4A plus 4D used to be total input tax credit. That's how one used to report it. But now what the government is saying is report all the credit, whether eligible or ineligible, in 4A itself. In your 4A5, you report all the credits, whether it is eligible or ineligible. Those which is ineligible could be of two categories. It is ineligible permanent in nature, ineligible temporary in nature. What is the difference between the permanent and the temporary? The permanent is, as Bharti was mentioning, a blocked credit like a club membership, you have purchased a motor vehicle, etc., etc. So that credit will never be available to you. So the moment it is ineligible, so you can see the right side section where there is an into mark, you will be reporting under 4A5 as a credit. You will again report it under 4B1. The net input tax credit that is availed is anyhow 4C, which is 4A minus 4B. This change now makes the government whatever is the credit that is visible coming into reporting table 4A. Now there could also be a situations where the credit is appearing, but you are not certain of the eligibility, or you want to avail it later. So then you have to ask this question. If you are availing in the same month, you report it in 4A5 and be with it. If you want to defer the credit to the future period, then you will be reporting it in 4A5 and also 4B2 because you don't want to take the credit. Anything reporting under 4B, it is a negative. The net input tax credit that gets reported is 4C, which is 4A minus 4B. So the point one has to note here is whether a credit is eligible or ineligible, all the credits have to be reported in 4A. However, certain credits where system says that I will not consider as if it is your credits. So that is where in the top you have been seeing ITC eligibility as reported in 2B. Just because 2B says ineligible, not saying that ineligible. I have made a regular purchase of the goods, but the supplier filed his return much later than September. So technically it is my credits eligible, but since the supplier did not file in time, I cannot take an ITC, hence my credits are lost. So these credits are parked under 4D2. Out of whole chart, we did not discuss about one table called 4D1, which we'll explain in the subsequent sections. Any questions to anyone so far at this point? There's one question from Umesh who is asking, can we modify auto-populated figures in 4A? Answer is yes, but you have to give a reason why you are modifying. Any change that you are doing to values in the table 4, you are inviting a notice from the department, which you have to explain. So technically, portal will permit you to do the change. Then there is a question from Manjush and Vishwas saying that the ITC claimed, why am I saying September? Isn't it not November? Did the law not change? Answer is, law has been changed, but that particular section is not notified. Members, please note GST Act will work. Each section in the Act has to be notified from the effective date from which it would be applicable. As of now, the due date for availing input tax credit is till September and not November. So we are already in August. So you have to make sure the September return when you are filing. Till such point, if we do not get any extension notice, so the time limit to avail the credit will continue to be September. Please continue.
Okay. So the important points to note here is the credit deferred to the future period, as Venu sir was mentioning, that is reported in 4B2, and it is later re-availed, reclaimed, has to be reported in 4A5 as well as 4D1. So whatever you have temporarily reversed before and are now reclaiming has to be reported in both 4A5 and 4D1. So if your eligible credit as per 2B is 100 rupees and you had reversed 20 rupees earlier, which you are now reclaiming, the amount in 4A5 will be 120 and the amount in 4D1 will be 20. So the control checks to make sure that you are reporting correct values. So sum of 4B2, that is temporary reversals in earlier tax period, should not exceed 4D1. So whatever you have reversed, you cannot reclaim more than that in the current period. The second point to consider is 4A5 auto-populated in 2B should be equal to current month reported 4A5 minus 4D1. So, see 4A5 will show the addition will be the total of eligible credit as per 2B and whatever is reclaimed in 4D1. So auto-populated, so if we talk about it in reverse, so auto-populated in 2B should be equal to current month reported 4A5 minus what is reported in 4D1. So the total credit in 2B is 4A5 plus 4D2. 4D2 is ineligible as per 2B, 4A5 is eligible as per 2B. Okay, now handling of temporary credits. In GSTR to be eligible in next month. So there are some situations wherein you temporarily reverse your ITC. Such situations may include vendor has given the goods supply, but you have not received them. So without receiving the goods, you do not want to claim the ITC. So you give a temporary reversal and report it in 4B2. Material reversed, but they are pending approval or rejection by purchase or management for quality of various issues. You might not have received the invoice or any other reason. So reporting in table 4 when available in GSTR-2B. So it will be reported in 4A5, but the temporary reversal will be given in 4B2 in such situations. Okay, month in which it is accounted in books. So we were talking about the vendor has the goods have not been received. Now let's say the invoice came in your June GSTR-2B, but you did not claim it because you had not received the goods. Later on, you received the goods, so now you want to claim the ITC of that. So that will be reported in 4D1, re-reporting of the credit earlier reversed in 4B2, and this will also get added to 4A5. Okay, so let's take an example now. So let's see in month 1, I had GSTR-2B 150 rupees as eligible credit. Okay, so I reported it in 4A5 and 4B2. I reversed all of that amount because I had not received the goods. So my net ITC was 0 and nothing for 4D1. Now in the next month, when I received the goods, I am claiming that ITC. So in 4D1, I will report those 150 rupees. Those will also be added to 4A5 and the net ITC will be 150, which will be shown in 4C. Okay. Now, Venu sir, please take over from here.
Sure. So can you just go to the previous slide once? Previous slide once, Bharti.
Yes.
Previous slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So just remember, this pretty very simple, straightforward example just to understand is there's a credit in 2B in the month 1, 150 rupees. You don't want to avail it for various reasons, which Bharti said, you don't know the goods have come or not, or you don't know whether the purchase will approved or not. It will be coming in your 2A, so you have to report it in 4A5. Since you are not availing it, you will be reporting in 4B2. So there are two kinds of reversals. A permanent reversals, which you will not avail, you will report in 4B1. A temporary reversal will be reported in 4B2. So the net ITC that you are availing in month 1 is nothing. But however, the month in which you want to avail the input tax credit, the month 2, there is no value in 2B. If you see in month 2, 2B is 0. The books of accounts has a credit because you have accounted in month 2. So the way you will be availing and reporting the input tax credit is you will report 4A5 150. Now, obviously, you will get a doubt that, okay, I'm availing credit which is not there in 2B, will I get a notice? However, you will report the value in 4D1 stating that, hey, look, this is the credit that I have reversed earlier, which I am re-availing the credit. This is how the whole new system of credit reporting has come up. This is contextually the way you are reporting is getting changed. So it's very important you understand the concept. And that is where we have come up with an example. Let's look at that example. Let's say hypothetically, the total credits that have been auto-populated. Please note the total credits that have been auto-populated is 4 lakh, 1 lakh 75, 1 lakh 75. Import of services you have paid under reverse charge, so it is you have reported it. Wherever auto-populated, I have written it. Let's say this is the credit that is coming in table 4. Now the question that comes is this the total credit that you want to avail, or is there any credit that you will reverse? Let's look at other relevant facts. Point number 1 is in the total credit that is visible. Next slide. In the total credit that is visible, let's say some goods which are ineligible is there 50,000 rupees worth of goods or not eligible. You are not eligible for the goods worth 50,000. So what should I do? I need to reverse the credit which I am not eligible for. Now earlier we were reporting this under 4D and reducing under 4A5. But now it is not the concept. You will reverse it under 4B1. So this value of 50,000 will be reversed under 4B1. Continuing further, let's say there is a value of rule 4243. They have given 75,500 IGST, 52,000 CGST, SGST. So there has been some reversals that is required under rule 4243. Now, even these reversal which is there, CGST, IGST, SGST, should also be reported into the same tab of your 4B1 because it's a permanent reversal. Then there is a point 3 where it's saying that the ABC has not received the material for worth 10,000 even though it is auto-populated. Now here, you cannot avail an input tax credit since you did not get the goods. But it is anyhow there in your 4A5. Again, you have to reverse it, but this time you will be reversing under 4B2. Next, you have not paid the supplier some 500 CGST, SGST within 180 days. So you have not paid owing to the proviso, the third proviso of 16 subsection 2, you have to reverse the input tax credit and re-avail whenever you want to do it. So again, you will report this under 4B2. Lastly, there is some value that is appearing in table 16 owing to 16 subsection 4 in GSTR-3B as ineligible credit. So we have 5 notes. Let's look at how we will report. Next slide. Now, we have not touched table 4A. So there is no point in looking at 4A that has been auto-populated. Whatever the ineligibility on account of rule 42, 43, or whatever on account of 17 subsection 5, that gets reported in your 4B1. All that got reversed. Then you have a situation where goods not received 10,000 plus payment not made to the supplier. So you can see there is a reversal happened in 4B2. Both got reversed. But however, 4B1 is a permanent reversal, 4B2 is a temporary reversal. The net input tax credit that you have availed is 4A minus 4C. Continuing further, is this the end? Answer is no. There are the facts which said that there is ineligible credit, which is shown in 2B. How that ineligible credit in 2B will show up? Bharti, I think this slide has not come up. Let me just show that slide, only this piece. So how did this ineligible credit that has come up? If you look at it, the ineligible credit is automatically, it gets auto-populated to 4.3, which is there in my earlier example. It goes to 4D2, saying that this is an ineligible credit since the supplier did not file the time. Even though for you it is eligible credit, you cannot take credit of it. This is how the reporting in GSTR-3B is going to happen. Now let's look at, is this reporting okay, or are there any issues that will come up? Now, there are some questions that I have posted for you, listed for you, what you should be careful of, how you should be reporting. I would like members to post the questions that you have, and before we look at demo of how in Zen we will be filing the new GSTR-3B. Couple of points. The first and foremost, the transition credits. Let's say there are past credits which have not been availed and I am availing now. There was a credit earlier, I did not take it. Now I would want to take it. How do I avail it? My suggestion, since this is a credit which you have not availed, you have to avail it. So you'll be reporting under 4FI. Current 2B 4FI is lower. So what do I do? Park your credit back into 4D1. Park your credit back into 4D1, stating that, okay, hey, look, this is the credit of the past period I am availing. Let's say you have taken excess credit availed earlier in 3B, which you want to reverse it now. The reversal of the credits, as I said, it is into two categories. 4B1 is a permanent, 4B2 is temporary. So you will be now reporting this in your 4B1. You may have errors in current period reporting, whether you did not do proper bookkeeping or you have keyed in wrong figures in 3B. There is no circular which has given as to how do you handle the corrections. However, we still have to rely on 26/26 by 2017, issued in December 2017, the last circular, which says that if you have made any errors, correct it in the next period. There are other chances that will come up, is reversal or amendments. I have availed a credit. The supplier issued a credit note. Those credit notes will be a permanent in nature, comes to 4B1. You may say that I have not availed the credit itself earlier. I have reversed the credit earlier. The reversals are always parked to 4B2. Again, the GSTN has not issued any advisory on auto population of 2B to the new 4B. You have to be very careful. If there is any auto population of credit notes or downward amendments in the invoice, the way you are reporting it. The last question is, if there is a credit in books but not there in 2B, what is the action I should do? Do nothing. You can't do anything. If there is no credit in 2B, you cannot do anything. 16 subsection 2, the double AA, read with rule 36 sub rule 4, doesn't permit you to allow any credit additionally. Yeah. So these are the points that I have put. If you have any questions, can you put your questions in the chat before we get on to a live demo? There are a couple of questions that I have come. One question from Raman Durai asking the restaurant accounting purpose. E-commerce sales, should it be reported exempt nil in GSTR1? Yes, in GSTR1 you will be showing exempt nil, but when it comes to 3B, you will be showing 3.11. Under the second tab, you will only show turnover. You will not be showing any tax liability. Question from Amita. Is it necessary to show ITC if reflecting in 2B because we may not show unless the bill is received? Yes, Amita. The moment an ITC is in 2B, you have to report it in 4A5. Since your bill is not received and you are not sure about it, you will be reporting under 4B2 for temporary reversals. Jijin is asking, can we claim ITC which are not in the books but in 2B, goods received and reverse in temporary reversal? Yes, that is how you have to report. The moment you have reversed it, you have not availed any credit, Jijin. So hence you are in compliance with the law. And I don't see any other questions that have come up. So again, Rabi Dalyan, restaurant sales through online Zomato, will it get affected in GSTR1 as we need not pay tax? Again, Rabin advisory, you put it under exempt sales for GSTR1, but 3B, it goes to 3.1.1. Question from Ramesh. In table 4A3, it is auto-populated for current month, but we have to take credit of last month paid under RCM. Ramesh, this confusion is there for many. In my view, reverse charge credit availability is there in the same month and not the previous month. Even if you look at the definition of ITC, in the input tax credit is the tax payable under RCM, and it doesn't say tax paid under RCM. So the same month you will be showing as a liability and you will be making the payment of tax. Bhaskar is asking where to report TRAN credit which was not availed during 2017. Bhaskar, the TRAN credit, the government has proposed for a reopening of the transition return. So once the transition returns are filed, your credits are automatic. That will be moving to the electronic credit ledger, and you will be reporting in table 6 of GSTR9 for the purpose of clarification. There's a question from Madhurima Samantha. Can we show purchase returns under table 4B2? Yeah, Madhurima, you cannot show the purchase returns under table 4B2 because if you look at it, table 4B2 is a temporary reversal. Now, when you have returned the goods, so these credits are not, these reversals no longer temporary in nature. It is like permanent in nature. So you will have to report under 4B1. Question from Shabur. How to treat reduction of ITC against purchase return? In the books, we availed ITC net of returns. Yeah, I understand. So if you have 100 rupees ITC, 10 rupees credit note, net you have accounted in the books. Can I show net under 4A5? Answer is no. You will have to show 100 in 4A5 and 10 in 4B1, 90 in 4C. That is how you have to show the credits. Yes, these are the questions, Bharti. Now we can move to the demo.
Okay. So now moving on to the demo.
So let's now look at how to file GSTR-3B using GSTZen. There are multiple modes. Bharti would explain.
Okay, so let's look at the demo for filing GSTR-3B as per what is prevalent practice without the changes having come into practice. So the GST portal has not actually implemented all these changes in 3B. So we will be showing the demo according to what is there in GST portal now. Okay, so now if you are filing GSTR-3B through GST-Zen, you have various options to choose from. So the GSTR-3B can be calculated by taking into consideration the full year sales and purchase data, and that will be compared with what you have filed with for GSTR-3B in the preceding periods. So any amount that is left will be used to compute 3B for the month as per the first method. Now, if we move on to the second method, this only takes into consideration the monthly sales and purchase register. So if I click on this method and I have some sales invoices and purchase invoices that I've uploaded already to the software. So this data can be used to calculate the GSTR-3B. So if I calculate it here, I can see the tables populated as per the data that I've uploaded into the software. So I have table data in 3.1 in table 4 and the tax to be paid. Third method is calculation of GSTR-3B based on full year GSTR-1 and 2B. So it will be calculated based on what you have filed in GSTR-1 and what has come in GSTR-2B. The fourth method is we download the auto-populated data, which that is the return that is auto-populated by the government, and
This is
it
the
can be
simple and most
downloaded.
used method.
So I've already downloaded here, and if you see it here, the amount has come in these tables. I can also edit this auto-populated data. Some of you had questions whether this auto-populated data can be edited. Yes, I can edit this data. Let's say I have a few imports, so I will enter it here. Okay. Or I have zero rated supplies. I can edit the data as per my needs. Let's say 500 tax is paid and save the workings. So once these workings are saved, I can go back, make sure my details are as per my books and what I want to file. You can take the PDF, you can check the PDF, how it is appearing in various tables. So this will be my reporting in GSTR-3B. Table 3.1, we have outward taxable supplies. Then you have outward taxable supplies zero rated, interstate supplies, eligible ITC, and your exempt nil and non-GST inward supplies in table 5. The JSON can also be taken from here and uploaded directly to the portal, or I can upload it from here. Okay, so this will take 1 or 2 minutes to upload. So now challan creation is also possible through GST-Zen. GST-Zen uses an algorithm to optimize your ITC utilization. Sometimes you do not fully utilize your ITC and end up paying cash for your tax liability in GSTR-3B. So we utilize ITC so that you have to pay the least amount of cash to fulfill your tax liability towards the government. So now it is uploaded. I'll download the summary, which is in GSTR-3B. 1 second. There is some issue here. Okay, so I think there is an issue with the portal. So I had uploaded the return. My details have gone into GSTR-3B. The next step is to download. So once summary is downloaded, I can upload the offset. The next step would be to offset my liability using my electronic credit ledger and challan creation. So challan creation can also be done from here, and then you make the payment. The last step is to file the return. So the return can be filed using EVC or DSC.
Yeah. So let's look at the change that is going to happen, Bharti.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Moving back.
Shishir, can you share your screen? Yeah. So members, again, if you look at it here, is you have the data 4A1 to 4A5, there is no change. But if you notice, after 4A5, all other ITC as per 2B. So what is being reported here is the all other ITC as per 2B. Is that what I am filing? The answer is no. I may re-avail the credit. The only change that will happen to my table 4 is the re-availed credit. A past credit which is reversed. Let's say from 15,637, hypothetically, let me reverse a value. Can you, Shishir, can you put 637.52 in 4B1? In 4B1. No, the above 4B1. 52. Yeah, so members, now you can see out of 15,637, I have reversed some 637. The net ITC that I am availing is only 15,000. Let's say out of 15,000 rupees, I have some goods worth 2,000 rupees ITC I did not receive. So I will be reversing it for re-availing in the future. So I'll be reporting 2,000 in 4B2. So my net ITC will be only 13,000. Okay, can you reverse 2,000? Yeah, so my net ITC is only 13,000. However, here is the interesting point which I want you to focus carefully. Now, let's say I have a credit of 4,000 rupees which I did not avail in the past, which I want to avail now. I have a credit of 4,000 in the past which I did not avail. I want to avail now. That credit would be reported under 4D1. So from 13, it has to become 17. So let's report 4,000 rupees. Now, if you see, the value which is there in 4A5 automatically has gone up. So that is why there we have set the 4A5 as per 2B is 15,637, but what we are reporting to the government will be 19,637. The explanation for the gap between 15 to 19 is there in your 4D1. This is how one has to report in GSTR-3B, and this is what you will be, all the users who are using Zen, this would be going live from 13th whenever the 2B is auto-populated. This is the mode of filing that would be available. Shishir, thank you for sharing the screen. Now back to Bharti and the members. Any questions do you have? So Purnima has posted a question in the personal chat. My books has no purchase written for the month of July, but reflected in 2B. The same is received in August 22. How will I upload in 2B? Yeah, Purnima, this is the same thing concept which I have explained. So if you are reversing on a temporary basis, you will be reporting under 4B2. You will be reporting under 4B2. And the month in which you are availing, you will report it in 4D1. Riddhi Mehta is asking, can you elaborate table 4D2 once again? Bharti, can you go to the slide where there are?
Right.
Yeah, can you hold next slide? See, if you see 4D2, it will be auto-populated from the government portal, where if a place of supply, let's say I'm here in Karnataka, Bangalore, I'm going to Bombay, staying in a hotel. The hotel would be issuing an invoice with the place of supply of Maharashtra CGST SGST. Even though it is for my business, technically the portal doesn't allow that input tax credit. It belongs to my other distinct GST of Maharashtra. In my GST, it is an ineligible credit. It would be reported to 4D2 automatically. So, Riddhi Mehtaji, 4D2 is auto-populated by the government portal, wherever the place of supply is not equal to your state, or if the supplier has uploaded after a different point in time. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, those who would like to know more, have questions, here are the contact details. Last slide, please. Here are the contact details. You can get in touch with us if you have any queries on the today's session, or if you have any requirement of automation of your accounting software to return filing. You can always get in touch on the WhatsApp or phone or an email. And this recording would be shared, and we are available, and Bharti would be reachable on this number. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, Purnima, the presentation would be shared to all the people. Further, on the registered email ID, you'll get a copy of this session presentation. Do we need to report ITC reflected in 2B but not availed in 3B? Yes, Muktaram, that is what we have been emphasizing. There is a change in the 3B reporting. You will have to report it in 4A5, and you have to make a choice whether you will avail or not avail. Yeah. With this, we have come to end of the session. I thank GST Zen for taking up the knowledge sessions to the members. And a special thanks to Bharti for preparing all this presentation and explaining it very beautifully. Thank you, Manisha. Thank you, Sishir. And thanks, everyone.